Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now, in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 missing keys to creating what you want with the law of attraction. Now, these 3 things are things that sometimes I have to remind myself of, and many times when I find that I'm not getting, or not getting, but that I'm not creating or that I'm not aligning with what I want in my life, it comes from one of these 3 things missing it in my experience. And I work a sales commission job, so there's a lot of times, I get paid pretty much just what I sell, a percentage of what I sell. So there's normally a direct reflection to me as to whether I'm in alignment or whether I am attached to the outcome or doing things that stop that flow from happening. Now, with most of these videos, the first thing I do whenever I'm talking about the law of attraction is first off explain the way that I view it. I view it a little bit unconventional in the whole, I guess the way that some people think about it. The way I say it is we don't necessarily attract that which we want, but we always attract who we are being. Now, this is why it's important to get to the core of who we believe we are, what our beliefs are, because our beliefs create our experience. Then we understand our state of being, how our state of being influences the kind of experiences that we have. And from that point of view, we can then experience what we want. So with this being said, the first missing key that I want to share with you is understanding why gratitude is so important in the process of the law of attraction. Now, I find for myself that most of the time when I'm feeling any type of block with this process, it comes from this one. It's probably the most powerful one out of the 3 I share. And gratitude, let's understand what gratitude really does. Well, understand that based upon who we are being, that is shifting us to the probable experiences that we have. And sometimes I explain this also when I talk about the theory of parallel realities. And it's the idea that there's an infinite number of realities that we could experience, but depending upon who we're being, so the state of being, the beliefs that we have, the actions that we're taking, that will determine which probable realities we experience. So with that being said, if we imagine that we must feel the sensation of what it would feel like, we must behave as the type of person that we'd want to be like, that would be experiencing that which we want, we can then see that the person that's experiencing what we want to experience would feel like they had whatever we want, they already have. That version of us already has. So because of that, we must then embody the same feelings that we would have if we were that perfect version of ourselves experiencing what we want to do. So for example, if I wanted to visualize myself speaking in front of a lot of people, maybe in actually speaking somewhere at a location, then I would feel the sensation of the passion of doing that. I would feel what that would be like. I would imagine my body language, the behavior I have, and as I begin to embody that emotion, that gratitude for it, it becomes something that opens up the probabilities for it happening as long as I remain in that energy state, as long as I adopt the beliefs of that version of myself, then I would begin to shift to it if I took the action. This is why gratitude is so important. Also realize that what gratitude does is it opens up our energy and it allows us to actually experience that which we want. A lot of times when we have an attachment to a certain outcome or we don't feel like we have it already, it retracts our energy because we're feeling lack. The moment we start to feel gratitude is the moment we open up that flow and we allow it to actually happen. We must embody the emotions that we want to experience in order to actually experience that probable version of ourselves. Now realize, every probable reality you could possibly imagine exists. And if there's one that you want to experience that's relevant for you, you can shift to it if you embody the beliefs, if you match the body language, if you become that person, then you have the ability of actually shifting to it. But part of that process is having the gratitude. And even if you don't feel gratitude for something you don't have already, you can at least begin with feeling gratitude for what you have right now. So the most powerful technique that I've used for this is feeling gratitude, adopting the emotions that you would feel of what you visualize right when you go to bed every night. And the reason that is because when you go to bed, you're drifting from an alpha beta state into the deeper levels of brainwave activity, which is theta delta state, as you're drifting off to bed. And the feeling is the language that communicates with our subconscious mind. So when we feel that emotion as we're going to bed, we then begin to let that empower us or impact us in a much more powerful way. So feel gratitude right as you're going to bed every night and watch how it changes your life. It's such a powerful tool. The second part of this is understanding why surrender is such a powerful concept. Now, many times we have something that our ego wants, something that we're attaining to have, and what we do is we try so hard and we keep banging the drum of what we want, but we don't realize that if we simply have the intention for it, we just focus on our state of being and we let how it's supposed to happen, that then a lot of times it will happen in a much smoother way. Now imagine that there are an infinite number of probabilities for what you want to happen. But if you get locked into only one or two little probabilities of how it could come in and you're just focused on it, there could be many other opportunities that come into your life that could give you the same type of effect, but you wouldn't even see them because you'd be so focused on just those probabilities happening. So realize that when you surrender, when you just focus on your state of being, you open up those other probabilities so that something can happen and you make it more likely that things will align for you. Realize that anytime we have an attachment to the way something needs to happen, we are limiting ourselves from the true expression and the true experience that we could have from just allowing it to happen the way it needs to happen and focusing on our state of being. This is why our state of being is so important, because when we're in the right state of being, we tend to align ourselves with the situations anyways, and it happens in the way it's supposed to be, not necessarily the way that limits us. So a lot of times we can limit ourselves if we don't surrender because we're trying to do it the way our ego wants it to do, but sometimes it's about relaxing, focusing on the feeling, focusing on knowing, having the trust in ourselves to happen in the right way. But this leads me to my third one. The third one is the paradox to that, because the third missing key is taking massive action. With all of these concepts, it's very easy sometimes to get into the whole airy-fairy, like spiritual side of things and think that it's all about the thought, it's all about the emotion. That is definitely a part of it, but we live in a physical reality. And because of that, we must physically take the action in order to create the momentum for things to happen. The way that this YouTube channel began to grow was because I started to take more action. Instead of creating one video a week, I started to create one video every single day, and because of that, that's when the opportunities then increase to where there's more likelihood that growth could happen. It comes from action. Now, of course, energy is a part of it. Of course, surrender is a part of it, but action is what can help gain momentum. And if you find that there's a block, that you're putting yourself in the right state, that you have the right emotion, but things just aren't happening for you, start to take action. Start to balance yourself with the energy side of things to the physical side of taking action. Action, I'm a firm believer in it. For years, I knew it was important, but there was something about me that was resistant to taking so much action as I'm taking right now. And while action can sometimes be an ego thing because I have an intention with goals and things like that, at the same time, action is what can really allow momentum to occur. And when momentum happens, it's like the energy becomes much easier to feel. I feel so much more passionate than I did a month ago because I've been creating a video a day. Doing these videos puts me into the state of being I prefer, then the emotion also increases, then the feeling of gratitude also increases because I am in the emotion and the action of doing what I want. So don't underestimate action. Realize that if you apply these three things, you can have a breakthrough with the law of attraction. It can be something that's so powerful for you, and more so than the law of attraction, it's just about being that which you want to be. Become the perfect version of yourself. Get through the mental barriers. Action is a good thing. The energy state you're in, choose how you prefer to feel. Choose to have control over your own state of being and watch how your life changes for the better. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it, share it if you found it of value, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace, much love, namaste. Alright, bye.